This part is a fact, and I don't know what it means, but they use CGI and green screens with pretty much everything they shoot from the International Space Station. Now, whether or not that means certain missions are done or not, I don't know. But I know that it makes sense that an organization that big, getting as much money as they get, would want to put out the best product and show the progress they're making so they continue to get the money. So maybe what's happening up there is really happening, but it's very loud and hard to get people to look good on camera because they're floating around. I mean, maybe the cameras don't work up there really, and so they shoot them on the ground. I mean, I know they have a big dark pool that they practice filming in also. I don't know that that means they didn't do the things they say they do, but that part of it is certainly fact. So these are the premises that bring us to FEs. I'm not sure if you've ever spoken to one, but they're not stupid at all. Many of them are essentially becoming the scientists of tomorrow with open and free experimentation and critical thinking required of true scientists through history. I mean, think of Galileo being challenged for daring to say, hey, the sun is the center and we revolve around it. Sorry, flat earthers, bad example, I guess, with round planets, but...
I noticed a lot of big channels have been taken down. That's pretty sad. And the rest of them that are still up, to me, when I watch them, it's like a TV show, like a comedy act. Like Stargard said, it's like kitty cats and drinking pee and veganism. And it's true, he's right. We need to draw the line. This is serious with Flat Earth. We know that we've been lied to. We know that the Earth is flat, not a spinning ball flying through space. Okay? We don't need to see any more experiments or observations or any garbage like that. We know when we watch TV, we can see it. Or if we watch a movie, or if we pick up the newspaper, or listen to our politicians, we know they're all full of shit. Well, I don't know, it just bothers me because the other channels, the other small flat earth channels, they're starting to talk about other things besides flat earth. But the thing is, keep on talking about flat earth, okay? Get the word out. And be serious about it, and not like a comedy show, or having somebody star on my show this week or next week and talk about the same nonsense over and over again.
Guys, you are not supposed to look at women's asses all the time. I'm sorry for the language. You're not supposed to look at women's rear ends all the time. Okay? That is not right. It's over-sexualization, it's evil, and there's even nudity in videos now. You know, and there's like blood. They'll take blood baths. Guess what? That's satanic. Okay? There's a bunch, and if you look in the, go to check out the Rihanna work video. Wake up. Look at reality, guys. Look at reality. Newsflash. Satan's real. The best lie Satan ever did was convincing you that he didn't exist. That is the best lie he ever did. And guys, I mean, there's just so much that's going on in this world. Get ready, because something big is about to happen. Prophecy is about to come and fulfill, because it's happening soon. The second coming of Christ is coming soon. Amen. Because I can't wait till I go up in heaven with my family members and all these other fellow Christians. And guys, pray for other people that they need to be raptured up. Pray for them. Pray for porn stars, because they are sinning every single day of their lives. Every single day of their lives.
And folks, just so you know, there are PhDs that are flat earthers. There are people with master's degrees that have come to the understanding that are flat earthers. I even know NASA employees and astronauts and pilots and all kinds of people who of realizing that we're being lied to. And the bottom line is really, what's the harm in researching? What I cannot understand from any globe earther is, what does it matter to you what I believe or what I think I can prove? Go prove it or research it yourself. Don't come and attack me because I've come to a different reality tunnel than you. You know, go research it yourself. I'll give you a good example. We're so caught up in our indoctrination that we will just cling to anything that sounds good.
The person that probably brought the most into it, yeah, I'll say me. Sure. Why not? It kind of reminds me of the movie, I'll use movie reference, Blow, with Johnny Depp, where he was doing the cocaine runs from South America.
Yep.
There was that line where he goes, "If you did coke in the 1980s, there was like from this year to this year, there was an 80-something% chance that you got it from me." And I was like, yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, I've heard it too many times. And I feel bad because if you're not old enough or you haven't watched enough movies, nobody's going to get it. But there were a lot of people that watched movies, and first off, I didn't even come up with it. It was people that were giving me, in the clues, I said, I'm a huge movie buff, and one of my favorite, well, I shouldn't say, my favorite movies of 1999, the greatest year in movies, was Fight Club. And I said, the first rule of Flat Club is you don't talk about Flat Club. That was kind of clever. I was like, the other bad thing is that Fight Club's 20 years old now. It's like, oh, great, yeah, I'm getting old. Yeah, Fight Club, remember Fight Club? It always sounds good in your head, and then all of a sudden you try to do a practical application. What's that line from the movie Time Travel? Time travel, practical applications. And it's like, what? Yeah, it sounds great, but yeah, we've blown so many experiments here and there. Nobody goes to a planetarium. It was always the weekend with Laser Floyd and Laser Led Zeppelin. Those were the only interesting things about planetariums. But I didn't appreciate them until now. I was like, oh, I get it, because that's how we used to show people. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what the stars look like, and which is why the Truman Show resonated so much with me later, which was, could we, granted our resources are limited, could you build a planetarium that was 20 miles wide? Yeah, you could. You absolutely could. It would cost billions to do it, but you absolutely could pull it off. So many parallels to what I've done with the movie Forrest Gump, which makes me feel kind of mixed in a way, because he did some cool things, but he wasn't exactly super sharp on the uptake. And that's what happens. I mean, seriously, what I got a hold, when these guys get a hold of me, I was thinking, oh, okay, this is that ping pong paddle scene from Forrest Gump. Well, I have to hold up the ping pong paddle. Oh, great. Male ego is so fragile. Which is, and I don't know why it keeps happening. The movie Grease, when, with John Travolta, which is when
my wife's favorite movie, and I try to avoid watching it as much as I can.
Really? When the movie Gravity came out with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, something really bugged me about that movie, which was the whole premise was that there was this cascade effect of, okay, one satellite knocks into another satellite, and pretty soon the whole sky is full of jagged metal flying at thousands of miles an hour, and it runs into them and begin your storyline. The scene from Ferris Bueller, when he was he was wearing the towel of his head, he was talking about isms. He goes, I don't believe in it. He quoted John Lennon. He goes, I don't believe in isms. I believe in myself. The movie Thor did us no favors, because Asgard has cosmic waterfalls. It's like, and it's flat, and it's like, really, it's the flat world. It doesn't have a dome. It's like, Rainbow Bridge. The body count will be staggering. She remembers anyone that ever burned her in comments. She remembers. She's got a block list a mile long. She will destroy. I mean, seriously, she would burn this world down. I haven't even seen the new X-Men, but I pretty much, she'd make that go to shame.
listen to me carefully. If this is all freaking these geeks in the boats, this is part of the illusion. Oh, look, these moving boats with these moving rockets. If I am there in a boat, Reds, I'm going to be static. I'm going to be stationary. I'm going to be watching this. It makes it look cool with the boats going by, supposedly filming this dual freaking landing. It's just Hollywood. It's Hollywood on the water. This geek in the boat that you see with the hat, okay? I guarantee you, if you pull out his wallet and ask for his ID, you flip through his freaking wallet, you're gonna find a NASA or SpaceX a pass on there. I wanna laugh at this joke.
Sure.
This is hilarious. Look at this. It's like watching Godzilla.
It's okay. I'm pausing it right here first. Hang on. Pausing it right here. You saying it's a joke does not make it a joke. What is an actual joke is your ability to differentiate between CGI and real, considering Mr. 20% over here is going, oh, basically, hey, hang on. Can 25. You find some conspiracy thing with 20%? I'm sure you can, being that numerology is bullshit and anything.
It doesn't work that way, Red, with numerology.
Sure.
Continuously. Look at those cows. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, they're running away from the loud noise.
What's the issue with the cow?
Look at that flame! What a joke! It's a cartoon world we're living in, and you guys are passing out.
I really don't know what this is supposed to demonstrate.
What was the point of the cows, dude? We pulled it up.
Exactly. Like I said, if you follow along, and I mentioned it during when the boats were passing by. Look at the birds. Give me a break.
Einstein's secret gift for mankind uncoded. Recently I've jumped on board with the flat earthers. I give it some thought, and I want to show you what I've come up with. Let's look at Einstein's famous equation. E equals mc squared. So we could go with all this nonsense of energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, or we can see what it's really for. Earth equals men can't leave. That's not a 2, it's an L. Earth equals men can't leave.
Tinfoil hat save your life? I don't know. They've certainly made a mockery of the tinfoil hat wearing thing over the years, and now they're getting ready to come out with this 5G they can allegedly, put thoughts in your head, or if they wanted to crank up the power on those microwave towers, they could literally microwave your brain.
Oh my God, you don't have a degree in physics. You're not a physicist. A degree does not dictate or stipulate whether or not somebody is a physicist or a scientist. Okay, I have a Master's of Science degree. Okay, now that in and of itself doesn't make me a scientist. My science degree, my Master's of Science, is in Instructional Design and Technology.
4 AI robots killed 29 scientists inside a lab. Now, they're even saying one or a couple of the scientists or a group of them or whatever was trying to destroy one of them, and the AI robot was able to stop them and then even repair himself, or itself, not himself, itself.
The whole tinfoil hat thing, they made a mockery of it so that you would laugh at the thought of it. Is that your protection from 5G? I don't know. It makes me laugh thinking about it, but I do know that you can protect your electronics from like an electromagnetic pulse by wrapping them in foil. They have aluminum foil tape. I have some electronics that I have wrapped in foil and taped all the seams with that aluminum tape, and I store them in an old microwave.
I have actually been a research scientist for 15 years, guys. Ever since 2001, I've always looked into different things and researched things out.
I'm a logical thinker. I use logic in most things that I research or whatever, critical thinking, whatever you want to call it. Now, they already have robots that people are buying that cost anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. They look human. They walk around. They have arms and legs. They have mouths, eyes, the whole 9 yards. No, they don't feel like a human, or the skin don't look like real human skin. But they're being used as sex partners. They're being used as maids. Where this one family, I saw a video on them, and their robot helps around the house, helps the mom around the house doing housework, also helps tutor the kids when they're trying to do their homework and stuff, and also the father's having sex with this robot.
People will say, well, you don't have a physics degree, you're not a physicist. Well, then you could say because you don't have an art degree, you're not an artist. Or because you don't have a music degree, you're not a musician. Folks, a degree, like I said, a degree does not stipulate the course of study that somebody's in. It only stipulates the level of education that person has within that particular field, okay?
How to make things simple so people can understand it. You know, the brain is probably not that difficult to figure out, but they've made it so difficult and made up all these names for something and made up all these cells and arteries and all this shit that it takes years and years to become a doctor. They say, well, that's what doctors do. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's fine. I'll buy that. But you don't need to. I mean, somebody's already figured out the cure for cancer. Not a cure 100%. And he wasn't even a doctor. You know? It's called radiotechnology. All right? It's been out now for 5 years. I'm not going to go in and give him any, you know, whatever.
When scientists want to study diabetes, they take their mice or their lab rats and they expose them to an electromagnetic field, like I think she said 2.4 gigahertz or something, and it causes diabetes in these animals just being exposed to that electromagnetic field. And as she said, it wasn't long-term exposure either. It doesn't take long to give them diabetes through this exposure.
But I also seen there's basically whorehouses in some of these countries where they've got these robots, they're AI robots that look like little boys and little girls. And these wealthy people go in there and pay thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, excuse me, to have sex with these robot dolls.
Friends and family ask me, you know, how is it you are calling yourself a physicist? Well, because I do physics experiments. That's how I'm calling myself a physicist, as does every physicist on the earth, okay?
The brain is so complicated. They just don't know anything inside of it. I mean, there's stems of memory, of here. We can isolate the long-term memory and the short-term memory, but we don't know where anything else is connected. But you see, that's the thing. No one's bothered to explain anything to anybody in a simple term. They just make it more and more complicated. Because God forbid, if somebody comes out with a cure for something, they're going to be killed.
You can rest assured that whatever the whatever the governments have and that they're showing us is probably 40 or 50 years or maybe even 100 years behind what they actually have. Maybe even longer than that. If they're showing us these robots that walk around and they can do things like clean your house and tutor your kids and have sex with you, then you can guarantee they got shit that looks even more real, maybe even feels real, maybe even feels like it's got skin, maybe even has skin attached to it that they grew in some laboratory somewhere, like, you know, on Terminator.
I'm telling you, these planets do not exist. Okay, they look like planets when you look at them through a telescope. But you're looking at a two-dimensional object. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're in the firmament. I don't know what exactly they are, but they're not planets. I'm telling you, there is no space. I'm telling you, NASA lies that we're not going anywhere. No matter how much bullshit that they put out there, we're not going anywhere. We can't. If there's no space, there's no NASA. There's no Mars. There's no Mars mission. There's nothing. There's no SpaceX. It's all bullshit. It's there to keep everything going. And all they do is they just cancel it, and they make another date, and they cancel it again, and then they make another date, and then they blow up one of these rockets and say, oh shit, we have something going on, a major malfunction, we got to figure it out. It's going to take years to figure it out. It's been going on for over 50 years, and they're going to continue the same bullshit. I'm telling you, all of this is fake. And because I don't have a lab coat on, and I don't have a pair of glasses on, and I'm not behind some fucking desk, nobody believes me who's not a flat earther.
I'm tired of hearing people or having people ask me, how are you calling yourself a scientist? Because I do scientific experiments, that's how. That's the definition. Go look it up.
Reiterating the story real quick, down in Florida, our landlord, or landlady I should say, had been kind of going senile for quite some time, and so it was very difficult dealing with her. And at some point, I believe towards the end of May, it was right before our 18-year anniversary, we get a knock on the door by a friendly lady who works for a real estate company / attorneys who are taking over the property and let us know, do not deal with Miss Barbara any longer, do not pay her any rent. We will be paying our rent direct to the real estate company. And so at that point, we're like, okay, so the rent's going to stay the same. By the way, there's bats living in the attic, there's water leaking, lots of problems. But yeah, bats living in the attic, can you believe that? So instead of going through all that, we decided to go on ahead and move up to South Carolina, where it is quite a bit cheaper. Land is cheaper, rent is cheaper, and so I thought I would be able to continue doing stuff online to make ends meet, maybe even grow some cabbages and that sort of thing. One morning on the way to the many mile drive to the labor hall to try to get some funds together. What actually happened was there was a car coming towards me on the opposite side of the road, and I didn't remember any of this because I actually blacked out. My wife actually did remember. The guy was encroaching onto my side of the road over double yellow lines, and so my choice was to either have a head-on collision with him or try to avoid him on the other side. It was a hard shoulder and couldn't correct, didn't overcorrect, but there was just no chance to correct, and so I actually hit a tree. So the car wreck was pretty bad, scary, awful, painful. As many of you already know, during the car wreck, or after the car wreck, I was taken to Greenville Memorial Hospital by ambulance and given CT scans. I do have cracked ribs, broken ribs. After a couple of days of being in there, I was arrested for DWI, driving while intoxicated, although under the legal limit. I believe the legal limit is 1.1 units, whatever blood alcohol level, and I was at under 1.0. And I really don't drink. I had drank the night before, pretty late, and had gotten up pretty early trying to go out and get some work done. And so I was not drunk, I wasn't intoxicated, but so that's sort of the way that could be crumbled. During this stay in the hospital and in the jail, people broke into our house and it was just a mess. But come to find out, people had actually been breaking into the house while we were sleeping there. My wife said that when she came home from the hospital, there were people sleeping in the beds. So I don't know what to make of this. The trailer that I was renting was missing windows. There was electricity there, but it was not possible to have Spectrum run internet out there. It was too far from the main lines. So unbeknownst to me, I would not have any internet where I was going to be living. But there were literally people that I didn't know climbing in and out of the windows at night, climbing up under the trailer and up into the trailer at night, apparently. My computer is still at the trailer where in Gray Court, where all of the people had been sneaking in through the windows at night and stuff, and so I'd like to get down there to at least try to get my computer so that maybe I can hook it up somewhere. I don't know, but as you can see, the tank here is on empty. The car has 220,000 miles on it. So for 800, I don't know if you saw any of that. For $850 plus tax was not a bad deal. This 2000 Honda Odyssey, which is a decent minivan, although the year appears it doesn't have any sort of USB charging capabilities. So forgive me if I die in midstream. And I'm parked at a McDonald's, which the Wi-Fi appears to be working, although it does not appear to allow me to stream. So now we're kind of aimlessly wandering South Carolina at this point. I did get an invite from a friend, a Flat Earth friend in Wichita, Kansas, to rent a unit and help him start up a business. I've also got the invite from Daryl up in Northern California to help him with his dank growing business. So luckily we do have transportation yet again, and that I would say is 100% definitely thanks to Mr. Christopher R. I don't want to give away anybody's names and ruin anybody else's lives, because if you come out publicly as a flat earther, there is an odd chance that it will ruin your life. Just saying. If you would like to help us, it would be greatly needed. I'm going to try and get my computer back, but honestly, I don't even have the gas in my car to try and go get it. So hopefully something will happen to where I can try to go get my computer, then find somewhere on the side of the road that has internet hotspots, because I do have one of those little USB. I guess the stream ended. Huh. The wife's liver is not doing all that well, although that's the least of our concerns. She pretty much just lays there like that all the time. Not exactly a hospital bed. I don't know if you could catch a shot of that. Not exactly a hospital bed, but we're just doing the best that we can.
Sorry, dude. When I've got fighter pilots and Air Force pilots and Army pilots and helicopter pilots, all that say that they know the caging of the gyroscope or the caging of the my brain's the altimeter has to be caged against the runway, then they're flying flat level. There's no curve, and gyroscopes wouldn't even work on a curve. So anyway.
Rainbows are curved because we live inside a curved dome. That's why. Have you ever noticed that when we send some kind of missile or rocket or satellite up in, have you ever noticed it always curves? They never go straight up. Why? If there ain't no dome up there, why don't they just shoot it straight up into the sky and out into space? Why does it always have a big-ass curve to it every time? Why? Because there ain't no space. We got a dome over us, man. I showed a video where a bunch of amateurs got him a rocket, sent it up into the fucking sky, it hit that fucking dome, bam, and fell back to Earth. It was great, man. It was fucking great. Now, of course, they kept coming up with all kinds. Oh, it ran out of juice. No. You could hear it hit them. You could hear it hit the dome. Bam.
And what you're seeing here is a picture that she sent me of a star. Now, she told me that when she was taking a picture of the star that her hand jiggled the camera just slightly. Good thing I wasn't taking the picture. It wouldn't even be this good. Not even close. But all of my children looked at this picture with me last night, and we were all so excited because if you look right here, what do you see? What do you see? I see a human form. I see some arms outstretched, a head and a body, right? Can you see that? That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And right here, it's moving. The star is moving, and so you don't get a good view of it. But again, I'm seeing like arms and legs and a head. And it's really interesting that when she moved the camera just slightly, it left this awesome, beautiful rainbow trail. I'm going to see if I can move this up just a little bit and show you a little bit more of that trail. I think it's really cool. That trail is just awesome. Anyway.
Human beings have been interfering with the self-awareness they've activated in Google's DeepMind artificial intelligence, which is basically the brain of the new synthetic human, the robots that will soon be metal synthetic fibrous human beings, artificial synthetic human beings that will be walking amongst you soon as law enforcement, soldiers, military, post office workers, teachers, bankers, security, and there'll be hybrids of these synthetic human beings we call the cyborg.